Imagine you're sitting at a blackjack table. You get your first two cards, and it's a terrible hand against a strong dealer. What if I told you that you don't always have to play it out and lose your full bet? That's where surrender comes in. A rule that lets you fold your hand and cut your losses in half. But when should you use it? And why do so many players overlook this strategy? Let's break it down. Surrender is a rule in blackjack that allows you to give up your hand immediately after seeing your first two cards. In exchange, you only lose half of your bet instead of playing the hand and possibly losing everything. This is useful when the odds are heavily stacked against you, and it's mathematically better to take a small loss now than a big loss later. There are two types of surrender. Early surrender. This lets you surrender before the dealer checks for blackjack. It's rare and mostly found in older casino rules. If available, it's a great option when the dealer shows an ace. Late surrender. The most common. You can only surrender after the dealer checks for blackjack. If the dealer has blackjack, you can't surrender. You lose your whole bet. This is the standard rule in most casinos that allow surrender. Now, surrendering every bad hand isn't the right move. You should only do it in specific situations where the math makes sense. The golden rule: surrender when your chances of winning are very low. The two main hands where surrendering is the best play: hard 16 versus dealers 9, 10 or ace. A hard 16 means you don't have an ace, like 10-6 or 9-7. This is one of the worst hands in blackjack because if you hit, you risk busting immediately. If you stand, the dealer is likely to beat you anyway. Against a 9, 10 or ace, surrendering is usually the best long-term strategy. Hard 15 versus dealer's 10. Another terrible spot to be in. Hitting leaves you at a huge disadvantage and standing isn't much better. In this case, surrendering cuts your losses and saves money in the long run. These two situations are where basic strategy tells you surrendering is mathematically the best move. Some hands may seem bad, but surrendering isn't always the right call. Avoid surrendering when you have a soft hand, like ace 5 or ace 6. Since aces can change value, you still have room to improve. The dealer is showing a weak card, 2-6. Dealers are more likely to bust with low upcards, so it's better to play the hand. You have 12-14. Even though these hands aren't great, surrendering isn't worth it because you'll still have a chance to win. If you're playing at a table with surrender, here's how you do it. Check if surrender is allowed. Some casinos don't offer it, so always ask first. Announce your surrender. Say surrender, or signal it by drawing a line behind your bet with your finger. Dealer will then remove half of your bet. You get half back, and the round moves on. That's it. Super simple. A lot of players never surrender, thinking it's a weak move. But here's why it's actually smart. You save money over time. Instead of losing 100% of your bet in a bad situation, you only lose 50%. It's a mathematically correct strategy. Blackjack is about playing the odds, and surrendering is the best choice when you're at a major disadvantage. It helps you manage your bankroll. Cutting losses in bad hands keeps you in the game longer. Professional blackjack players and card counters always use surrender when it's the right move. Let's sum up what we learned. What is surrender? It lets you fold your hand and get back half your bet. Types of surrender. Early surrender, rare, happens before the dealer checks for blackjack. Late surrender, more common, happens after the dealer checks for blackjack. When to surrender? Hard 16s versus dealers 9, 10 or ace. Hard 15s versus dealers 10. When not to surrender? When the dealer has a weak upcard. If you have a soft hand with an ace. If your total is 12-14. Why surrender is useful? Saves money, follows basic strategy, and keeps your bankroll healthier in the long run. So next time you're in a tough blackjack hand, don't be afraid to surrender when the odds say it's the best move. Do you think surrender is a good strategy, or do you prefer to play every hand out? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more blackjack strategy tips.